Today will be a day to remember for the rest of your life. The Pro Football Hall of Fame is excited to present the heart of a Hall of Famer program connected by Extreme Networks. With over 100 Hall of Famers participating, we have reached 47 states and countries all over the world, sharing the message that football is more than a game and can teach Americans important life values like commitment, integrity, courage, respect, and honesty.
You have to make right decisions even when nobody's watching you.
Well, respect is not just given out. It's not handed out like a brochure. It's earned.
Today, you are presented with an opportunity to meet and learn from one of the greatest football players of all time. But more important than that, the chance to see that their Hall of Fame life wasn't given to them. They didn't roll out the bed great. They put the work in, on the field, in the weight room, in the classroom, in their communities. They made themselves a Hall of Famer on and off the field.
Your feet can't take you where your mind's never been.
Because you can make it, but it's just gonna take a little hard work and some effort and the drive and determination.
And today, you will learn you can do the same thing they did. You don't have to have a gold jacket or a bronze bust to make a difference in the lives of others. It's your decision whether you want to be a successful student, son, daughter, brother, or sister.
If attitudes are contagious, is your attitude worth catching?
It's integrity as well, because when you decide to pursue something and you don't quit, that says a lot about you.
Commitment to excellence. We can all aspire to be the best.
Welcome to a once-in-a-lifetime program, the heart of a Hall of Famer program, connected by Extreme Networks.
Next, I'd like to thank the Minnesota Vikings, a team that believed in me, gave me a chance to play defensive line when most teams thought I was undersized and I wasn't going to make the team. Also, a lot of credit goes to my teammates at the Vikings and also the Seattle Seahawks, and especially my teammates when I first got in the league, such guys as Henry Thomas, Chris Dolman, and Randle McDaniel. Thank you guys for taking me on your wing and showing me the way. I also like to thank Jerry Burns, Freddie Zamorletti for seeing something in me and also believing that I could make the team. I also want to thank Dennis Ryan, the head equipment guy for the Minnesota Vikings, for finding a shoulder pad that was fit this small body. I also like to thank the fans for those days when I thought I'd given my all and had nothing left to give. You may not believe this, but those days when I believed that I couldn't go on, I didn't have the strength to continue, you gave me the strength to play hard, practice hard, and to go out there and play 100% in every play.
And with that, welcome to North Central High School in Indianapolis, Indiana, for our latest installment of our Heart of a Hall of Famer series connected by Extreme Networks, featuring Pro Football Hall of Famer John Randle. My name is Jack Prusser. I'm the Youth Education and Leadership Coordinator at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, where it is our mission to honor the greatest of the game, preserve its history, promote its values, and to celebrate excellence together. Before I get started about talking about the values, is what this program is catered on, I do want to issue a few thank yous. First off, thank you to our great partners at Extreme Networks for allowing us to travel to schools all across the country to do this great program. Without their support, it would not be possible. Secondly, teachers and administrators, those specifically obviously of North Central High, for allowing us to come in and speak to your students today, giving them the opportunity, and those schools listening remote as well. Thank you for taking time out of your day to let the students hear this great message as well. And then lastly, students, I have plenty in front of me, and I know we got some as remote as well. So this is your guys' opportunity. Without you guys, this program would just be me sitting here talking to John. So be engaged, ask questions, get to hear from one of 382 Pro Football Hall of Famers. So, take this opportunity to heart. And if you guys want to tag us on our social platforms, those watching on our YouTube as well, make sure to leave a comment and your school name as well, and we'll hopefully get to you guys too. With that being said, we are going to get started here. Let's give Mr. John Randle a big round of applause. Thank you, John, again. I'm going to start here with the values, right? So the values of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, for those who don't know: commitment, courage, honesty, integrity, and respect. So those values, we believe resonate with the Hall of Famers. We talk about excellence. Out of those, commitment, courage, honesty, integrity, and respect, which one of you, I guess, hits home the most? Obviously, they're all good, but if you had to pick one.
Oh my God. I think it's commitment. For me, because where I grew up at was a town of 150 people. There wasn't a lot to look forward to. Most of the people around that town, we were families that were sharecroppers. Minimum wage was $3.75. They only paid us $2 an hour to chop cotton. No one believed that you were going to make it out of this little small town in Texas. And so there wasn't a lot of examples of commitment around me. I grew up in two older brothers with a single mom. My father was absent there. So we didn't have a lot of examples to look up to. But my commitment came from my mom telling me, if you start something, you have to finish it. And it was instilled in me to never quit. And that helped me through high school, where I hitchhiked to play football. When most people just hopped on the bus, there was no bus around for me to take after practice. So some guys who started with me quit, gave up, and I kept on. 4 years of this high school, we didn't have much money. High school for me was very hard. Only had like 2 pair of pants, a couple of shirts, but I wore it anyway. And like I said, high school was hard for me. First girlfriend broke with me in high school because I didn't have a car. So that was that was on there. But I had 2 friends that we still today are very close. But getting back to that commitment, it's what took me to junior college for a year and a half. And I had the grades, but I just didn't have the football technique, how to use my hands and stuff. And so committing to a junior college helped me out immensely, where I transferred to a Division II school. If I stayed one more semester, I could have gone to a Division I school, Baylor University, but not having the adequate surroundings, support, I didn't have a lot of belief in myself, so I just went along with it. But that commitment is what stayed with me through high school, on through college, on through the pros.
I want to follow up on commitment because I think that's so important. And you talked about the mentality of not quitting, right? And I think, these students today are at a pivotal point where they're figuring out things, hey, this is what I want to do, or even some challenges in their life where, hey, this is getting hard. Maybe it's not for me.
Yeah.
Was there a moment in your career, it could be in high school, it could have been in the pros, that, hey, maybe I'm not cut out for this? Or is there, a test moment where it was like that pivotal moment where you realize, hey, I can do this. I'm not going to give up?
Yeah, it was actually in high school. One of those 4 years when I was hitchhiking to play football, 11 miles back home. One day I couldn't take it. So I told my mom I had quit. And so she took me over to the junior high and showed me my buddies who I wanted to hang out with. And she said, "Is that what you want to do? You want to hang out with these boys?" I'm like, "Yeah." And she goes, "You have so much more time in your future to do that. Right now, you need to get down to details and you need to finish the job you started." And from that standpoint, that was the first and last time I ever quit anything. And went back, stayed with football. The days where, days of practicing, you got to take your books home, and I had to find a ride home. I would get home sometime midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning for a high school kid. I mean, that was really hard, but that pivot moment was in high school.
Yeah, I mean, and what opportunity, right? We're talking to high schoolers. So some of you may be going through something similar. I hope you're not having to walk to practice every day, but you could apply that to your life, right? It's having that mentality of not giving up. You could not be in the position where you want to, but that's not stopping you guys from working towards that goal, right? And I have a follow-up, and then I'm going to turn it over to you guys today to get some questions in. But, we have a lot of athletes in here today. What advice would you give about believing in yourself, right? And, if that doubt starts to set in, how can they kind of work that out of their system?
That's a good question, first of all. I always said if I could go back to high school and talk to myself, what would I tell myself? The first thing I would tell myself would be, don't care what other people think. Don't try to live up to their expectations or what they think you should be. High school is 4 years, and those 4 years are, because I hated high school. Sorry, but I had to say that. I hated high school because it was hard. But I would say I could go back, say don't listen to other people, but focus on myself. I would tell myself to push myself to being the best person I could be. And the last part of it would be the commitment is doing the right things when no one's watching you. That's the commitment. I got to college, it was the same thing. The pros is the same thing. It's a committing to something, saying that you gave your all to something, even though you may not know someone's watching you, but they may be, but that's the commitment.
Yeah. And I really like where we're going with this. So we'll kind of stay on this topic, but we're going to turn it over real quick to the students here at North Central. So go ahead and raise your hand if whoever would like to ask a question. We'll call on you here. Any volunteers? Go right on the end there.
I want to know, your work ethic. I want to know how much harder you had to push just because of the situation that you were in, and also like at the college level.
So diving into work ethic,
Yeah.
Looking at the college level, but you had to work a lot harder than a lot of other individuals.
Yeah.
What was that, I guess, mindset?
My mindset was, it's an old Texas saying, it's not how you start, but how you finish. So I didn't think I was working any harder. I just said I was going to do is whatever I could, or I was going to do more than anybody else. And that was pushing myself to a point where the way I slept, the way I attacked football in college, because in practice, I tried to beat everybody, even my teammates, no matter what offensive lineman I was going against, because I was a little different, first of all. I used to say things to my teammates, to my opponent, that I was the future. You just don't know it yet, but you will see something like me in the future. So I was very different, and because I believed that God made me so different from everybody else, and I took that to heart. I'm trying to say this in a sensible manner, but you all have to understand that you're put on this earth for a reason. You have to live up to your potential, but we don't know what our potential is unless we push ourselves. Doesn't matter your background, how you grew up, one parent, two parent, two dads, two moms, whatever. You have potential. You have all this effort that God's given you, and you got to push yourself. But it starts with you, not with your friend or somebody telling you not today. But to me, that's why I've lived my life. And when I get a little bit older, I can sit back and relax and look back at my life about all the effort and the commitments that I put into my life.
I think that's huge, right? We all have different things that we're passionate about. Some of us are better at things than others, right? It's finding that skill set and finding, how can you apply yourself and, work towards, right, your goals, right? And I want to talk about being self-motivator, right?
Yeah.
Everybody in this room, you have to have the drive, right? I could tell you, hey, I want you to get straight A's. I keep pushing you, right? You have your parents telling you they want you to accomplish this and this and this, but you have to work towards those goals, right? And it's not going to be it's going to be on you to do it, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of want to touch in about your teammates. You mentioned, you're going against your teammates. You knew you wanted to beat them, but was there any teammates you had, whether it was in the high school level, college level, or even in the pros, right?
Mhm.
You had a lot of good Vikings teammates.
Right.
A lot of them are in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But was there one that really kind of pushed you, had that, or
Yeah.
or going against some practice that was kind of on you to be better?
Yeah, there was like, so me getting into the pros or into the NFL, I wasn't a draft pick. And back when I was coming out of college, the draft was 5-6 days long. And so nobody called me. So I was a free agent. So several teams to pick from. So and I'm from Texas, palm trees, beautiful weather. I picked Minnesota. And going to Minnesota, I got there, it was like it is right now, about minus 20 degrees. It's cold, and I was unsure. But I called my mom, and she said, "You're there." That's the first step. Second step is letting them know who you are. You are a Randle, and so on and so on. So getting there, a guy named Randall McDaniel, who I didn't know at first, but I'm going against other guys, and I'm kind of kicking their butts. And this guy comes out of the back with these big white gloves on, and this brother was tossing me around left and right, knocking the wind out of me. And at that point, I had to make a decision. I could keep going against Randall, getting the wind knocked out of me, or I could give up. And my mentality is commitment. So every day in practice, man, he would pick me up, slam me. I'd just jump right back up, slam me. And this guy, Randall, through his NFL career, he went to like, 12 Pro Bowls, 12 All Pros, and he ran like a 4.5 40 offensive lineman. And this dude was
different.
He was born different, like the rest of us. But as I persevered on through my first year, by the end of the season, I still wasn't beating Randall, but everybody else, I was destroying. I was tossing them around. And Randall told me that I had the potential. But it took me going against him to where he kicked my butt every day. And he's more than my teammate. He's like a big brother to me. And even to this day, I respect him, and we talk back and forth. We don't live too far from each other, but he's very influential in my life, and I'm very influential in his life. And it takes people like that for me to consider and understand that he was getting better, but at the same time, he was teaching me how to be better.
Yeah. And I mean, you mentioned Randall, obviously a very talented player at his position as well. We're going to jump here in just a moment to Wellstone Elementary. So I'm going to have one more question to interject here, and then we'll go to our students over there. So whenever you're ready, you'll come up and unmute. But before that, I'm going to get this question. You talk about being undrafted, right? And that's a challenge in itself to make it to the NFL. Was there a moment when, you realized you belonged in the NFL, right?
Yeah. So going from college to the pros, there's only 1% to go from the college to the pros. So being a free agent, getting to Minnesota, I was on the 15, and there was only one person on the 15. That was me. So I played on special teams. I was on kickoff, punt return, punt team. I was even on hands teams. You guys know what the hands teams are. Those are guys who can catch, and I definitely can't catch. But I could block somebody. But how I figured out I belonged was the one day in practice where I got out there and I wasn't really sure. It was in the game and Monday Night Football, and the coaches told me before the Monday night game, he said, "You're not going to play. You're meant not to go. You're meant not to be in the game. Your job is to do special teams. So don't even consider getting in the game." Well, I'm backing up two defensive ends, and one of them breaks a shoelace. And so the coach is sending me out on the field. And I go out there, it's a third down situation. And at this point, I'm going against this guy named Ron Heller. He's one of the dirtiest players in the NFL. So at this point, I got to make a kind of a choice. Do I go hard against Ron Heller, or do I just kind of go at half speed? I went at it full speed, went around the corner, and this quarterback was standing there. I knocked the ball out of his hand, and I couldn't hear a thing, dude, because I'm just like kind of cheering, everybody's doing their stuff. But I went back to the sideline because the other guy came back in, and that's when I knew I belonged in the National Football League.
That adrenaline set in. You were feeling it.
I was feeling it, baby.
That's awesome. All right, well, Stone, we'll send it your way for your question. Go ahead and unmute, and Mr. Randle will answer your question.
First of all, thank you for your time, Mr. Randle. One of my students right here has a question for you. Go ahead, HA.
How did it feel? How did you feel about your teammates when you first got to the pro interview?
How did you first feel about your teammates when you first started, like your rookie year? What was your feelings towards your teammates as in general?
My first year, I felt like I was starting a new school. I felt as if I was back in high school again because I didn't really know anybody. I was from a small town. I wasn't a draft pick, but I said to myself, you know what? God's put you here, so let's give this a try, but give it our all. And if it doesn't work out, I've at least tried it. And if I have to go back home to Texas, I'll go back home to Texas. But that's the way I felt. I felt as if I was overwhelmed, out of body experience. But I'm glad I made that decision. It changed my life immensely.
Great question. It's kind of that being uncomfortable situation,
Yes.
right? Being comfortable in the uncomfortable. We'll do something really cool that we like to do with this program here. And so for students today, some of you may never been to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, some of you may have, or some of you may hopefully can come in the future. But one thing we like to do is send it to the museum live so you guys can get a little taste of what we have in the museum. So with that being said, I'm going to send it over to my teammate, Jerry Shockey, who's going to be live in the Hall of Fame gallery here. So Jerry, whenever you're ready.
All right. Thank you, Jack. John, thank you for tuning in here today. Thank you for being here, taking time out of your busy day to be here. And students that are tuned in, those that are watching, that are actually interacting here today, those that are connected via the webinar, those that are connected and watching on YouTube Live, thank you for joining in. And as always, thank you to our partners at Extreme Networks for making this possible. We couldn't do this without you guys. And so we are here in the Hall of Fame gallery, obviously the most iconic gallery here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. And so I want to give you guys an idea, the students that are connected in here from all grade levels, all over the country. I want to give you an idea of just how big of an honor it is that the gentleman that you're speaking to here today, how elite of a status that it is. So think about this. Since the game of football has been played at all levels, that's Little League, middle school, high school, college, and the NFL, there have been about 300 million that have played the game. Let's take that at the collegiate level. At the collegiate level throughout history, there have been about 5 million that have played the game. If we take it to the professional level, there have been about 30,000 that have been paid to play, coach, officiate, or administrate the game. There are only 387 members, and actually right now only 382 bronze busts on display that are here in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So that gives you an idea of just how big of an honor it is to be enshrined into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And so, John, I can't help it. I know your background. I know your faith and things like that. And so when I walk into this gallery, the first thing that comes to mind is legacy. The legacy that you left in the game. But I know that your legacy is so much bigger than the mark you left in this game. Talk about these young people, what legacy means to you and what you hope your legacy and how you can use this platform to be a positive influence in others' lives.
Good. That's another very good question there. For me, legacy is almost like a family torch. To me, it's like a track relay. My mom carried our name to a certain point. Then it's my turn to carry my name or our name to a certain point. And for instance, my daughter is graduating college. She's going to get ready to go to law school. She'll be the first Randle to go to law school. Like I said, when I grew up it was on an old plantation. And it was an embarrassment where we grew up at. All the houses were white with aluminum roofs on top. But legacy to me is taking it to a higher level, doing more than what my mom did for my family, for my siblings. That's what legacy is to me. Once I retired from the NFL, I started working for the NFL. So I've been working for the NFL for 14 years. I played 14 years I'm working with them. So that's part of my legacy. I do a lot of community work in Minnesota, from special needs to Special Olympics to First Tee program. I'm about raising money in the state of Minnesota because it's giving me so much, but at the same time, it's building my legacy because my legacy isn't just about football. To me, there's more important things than just football. That's mentoring someone, giving someone a piece of advice, being here today to talk to you. Maybe one of you will take something I said and use it in your life, in your lives. So that's what I see as my legacy. What I did on a football field was great and whatever, but I think there's more I can do. And so being in this Legends community, being here talking to you, has provided me that opportunity. Because for me, I always say that someone watching you, even though you may not think you're doing something great or cool, but someone's watching you, someone's looking up to you. So it always matters that you do something for your legacy. Even though you think you don't have a legacy, you do. It's about you building that legacy one day at a time.
Now, and students, I want you guys to understand that what he's talking about is he has a platform to do good in this community, and you don't need to be a Hall of Famer. You don't need to have a bronze bust in Canton, Ohio. You don't have to be rich. You just have a heart that wants to help. And so you guys all have a platform. You are being watched, and you have a platform. You have influence in people's lives, and you can be just like John Randle and even do greater things than John Randle. That's what we'd all hope. We go on to do greater things than all of us combined. And so just take this as a lesson in life here today to go impact someone's life, one person at a time. So John, thank you. We'll see you in August here coming up. It's coming up quickly. I'm sure we'll see you. And Jack, I'm going to send it back to you.
Thanks, Jerry. And I kind of want to follow up on that about legacy, right? And the thing I heard is day to day, right? You don't need to think about, hey, this is what I want to. Obviously, you have to have goals, right? You want to have that end goal of what you want to accomplish in life. But it's that day to day where you take steps each day, whether it's helping a sibling out, helping a teammate out, helping a friend out, doing those small things that you guys, find joy in and stacking those, like I said, stacking those wins, right? And that's kind of what we want to preach to you guys is to, continue to do the right thing. I kind of want to follow up here. We saw your bronze bust, right? That is a huge moment in your career.
Yeah.
Right? That you mentioned, though, 382 Pro Football Hall of Famers. What was it like to unveil that bronze bust?
To unveiling my bust was a way of saying all the decisions that I made in my life, even though they weren't always perfect, it was the right one. It showed my friends people I thought were my friends who didn't believe in me, who doubted me, to look at what I have achieved. My number in the hall is 258. And when I started out playing high school football in the 9th grade, man, I didn't know what I was doing, but there was guys that were better than me, bigger, stronger, quicker, faster, you name it, whatever. But my commitment, and that's what you got to have, is that commitment. And you may not see that you're getting better in the day-to-day, but stick with it. And I'm here to tell you, there's going to be people telling you that you can't do it. You don't belong. You're not capable of doing this, but you can. I'm here to prove it to you because I'm not supposed to be a Hall of Famer. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be in Texas right now. I'm working in some crop field or driving a truck or something. But my commitment to people from a town that didn't believe in me, I chose to not listen to them. I mean, it's a tough journey, but it's a journey that any of you are capable of doing. But you're going to take it one day at a time. But, I mean, I didn't come up with, like I said, didn't have the two parents. My mom and dad wasn't school teachers or whatever. But my mom loved me, and she pushed me. And that's all you need, someone to push you or for you to push yourself to achieve what you want in this life.
Absolutely. We'll go back to our North Central High students here today. So get a question in the back. Go ahead and say your name and your question.
In Cunningham, one principle my mother taught me at a young age was delayed gratification, which is the ability to resist an immediate reward or temptation in exchange for a greater, more satisfying reward in the future. So my question to you is, what does this term mean to you, and what do you have to say to young athletes in the world about it?
Oh, that's a really good question.
Very good question.
So for those listening remote, talking about delayed gratification and what does that mean, you know, in your career that you kind of use that mindset?
Oh my God. I didn't look for gratification. What I looked for was just doing the right thing. My older brother, he played 7 years in the NFL, maybe 8 years in the NFL, and he was kind of my example. And but I did not want to go back to that small town where I grew up at. But I just wanted to be the best I could be, and to see where life was going to take me. Because where I grew up at, it wasn't much, say, nightlight or life or lights around the town. So we all wanted to go to this town called Hearn, Texas. And so eventually you would go to Hearn, a town of 5,000, and you get there and everyone kind of considered that was it. That's the pedestal. This is where you want to be, right here. Where else do you want to go? And I said to myself, I want to go see what's out there. And I guess for me, it was going out there and seeing it. And the gratification was coming back and telling people in that little town, there's more outside of Hearn. But it's going to take you time to get out of here. But once you do, you're going to see and not believe some of the things that you're going to see. And for me, I was one player from the NFL, Myles Garrett, went through my hometown. He saw my hometown sign. And he told me his dad talked about me as ways like I'm a legend or a ghost. And I think for me, that has been the gratification of the younger players in the NFL now see me as a legend. But I'm not a legend. I'm just a guy who worked his butt off and said to myself, what if you just take this road and whatever comes down that road, you deal with it, but you keep going on. And that's the way I have lived my life, and I will continue to live my life.
Right. I think that's good. A great message, right? And the big thing is it's like that what's next mentality, right? It's like, yeah, you made it to college, right? Great feat. What's next?
Yeah.
It's keep working on your goals, and you're still in that point in your life now where you're still working towards
Still
things.
working, yeah.
You never stop. We'll jump to Otana High School here in just a moment before I get this question in. So be prepared to step up and unmute here. But one of my favorite questions to always ask, you know, was there a favorite moment in your entire NFL career? Could be a play, could be a game, could be at practice. It's a tough one. So I'm sure there's a
favorite moment. Oh my God, favorite moment. I think my favorite moment in the NFL was I met a person who was straightforward. She was very honest with me, and she turned out to be my wife, and we've been married for 25 years. But meeting a person who pushed me, but it was there as my best friend, but made life more enjoyable, made it to where someone who was there with me on this journey, and it's how we met was unusual, but that probably one of the moments that I really appreciate, because today she's my best friend and makes life so much more enjoyable.
That's awesome. All right, Owatonna, go ahead and unmute here and ask your question. One moment here, and then if not, let's see. We'll go to Dake Junior High before Owatonna here. So Dake, if you're ready, go ahead and step up and unmute.
All right, here's Levi. Fine. Finally, 2025 is over for good. Thank gosh. 2026 is here.
What's your favorite quarterback in the NFL this season?
Ooh, favorite quarterback in the NFL.
Favorite quarterback.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
There's a lot.
That's a lot of good ones, but you know what?
Are we gonna go to the Minnesota Vikings route here?
Hey, I gotta go with JJ McCarthy. He's our quarterback. Not saying it's a politically correct answer, but I am very associated with the organization. Therefore, I have to go with since 1961, the Minnesota Vikings, which was started by Max Winters. That's my organization. I bleed purple. I wear purple every Friday to represent the Minnesota Vikings. So I'm going with JJ McCarthy. I know we had a tough year last year, but as in life, it gets tough sometimes. But we must bounce back and must overcome. Therefore, Skol, baby. Skol.
Love the loyalty. Gotta rep the Vikings.
Get some.
Okay. Well, I'll jump in with my question, then we'll go back to the students in front of us today here. But I think the big thing is you talk about the Vikings, your passion for them. It's a great organization. You know what? I guess I'm trying to word this properly, right? I thought about loyalty. What is that loyalty like with the Vikings organization? Even the former teammates you had and the passion that you guys, still support the team on such a high level. What kind of goes into that? Was it the being embraced by the organization or ownership, teammates, or just,
Well, I think it was we had this kind of like this Raider attitude, which is commitment to excellence, but we also had we had an inside thing where we call ourselves misfits, which was we not the ideal athlete that you want, but we're the athlete that are committed to trying to do as best as we can. And that's the way we still are. And with my old teammates. So every year we have about 125 former players come back every year. And I'm the host, getting everybody together, mingling, hanging out, socializing. But the commitment is something to show guys that your family doesn't have to have the same bloodline, same town. And that's what we have kind of in the NFL, and Minnesota has it with all its former players and current players, because you all come together, 53 guys committed for one thing, which is winning the Super Bowl. And you come from all walks of lives, you come from all parts of the country, but you come together for one commitment. And that's what makes it so unique. And that's what makes the bond so great. And I've got a bond with my high school buddies, my college buddies, my NFL guys. And so I think that makes it so great. Everyone's coming together, and we still get together, like I said, my high school buddies, my college buddies. But it's just something so cool, because to me, one of the things you learn from football, there's no color. It's just the guy who's playing next to you that you can count on, and who's committed to winning or playing the best football that they can play.
Yeah. And obviously, we at the Pro Football Hall of Fame believe football is the greatest sport, right?
Mm-hmm.
From that field of, guys with different skill sets, different backgrounds, all coming together to work for one goal.
Totally.
But sports in general, right? Talk about your teammates, right? Those are some of the best relationships that you'll have in your life. And I know a lot of athletes are in this room today. So, enjoy the friends you have, your teammates now, right? These memories that you're making, it's very impactful.
Yeah. Football, I got to tell you, football for me, the little things that it taught me, which was, first of all, working and not realizing who's watching you. 2 is always be on time or be there early. And also, you are as strong as your weakest teammate. So always making sure that everyone is accountable. Those little things that I have taken from football and used those in life, in the everyday prospect that makes my life better. And I'm holding the door from someone to just saying hello to somebody, because you never know what someone is going through. Someone may have a smile on their face, but behind that smile may be the look or the feel of they're going through something that they just need someone just to say hello or just a pat on the back.
Yeah. Okay, North Central High students. Oh, his hand jumped up right away.
My name is Brendan Van Bremen Jr. And John, you previously mentioned that you were undrafted. So my question for you is, like, what separated you from your other, like, very talented players in your draft class?
Oh, that's easy. So I'm only 6'1", and most defensive linemen are 6'3", 6'4", and 6'5" at the time. So me coming into the league changed their mindset. And from the Warren Sapp to the Brian Young to all these different guys that are 6'1". So when I first got in the league, they didn't want anybody 6'1". They were telling me linebacker or running back. And I'm like, you don't know my heart. You don't know how much I'm committed to this game. But that was one of the biggest differences. The second one was they said I was from a smaller school, and that smaller school guys couldn't handle being in the National Football League. And so I played for 14 years. And every day in practice or every year when we drafted somebody from a big school like Ohio, Michigan, I showed them why this Division II kid, only 6'1", was better than those guys. That's the mindset you got to have in life. Just because they're from a bigger city or whatever, man, doesn't mean you can't chop them down.
There we go. I'm going to follow up, kind of tying to that. You're still heavily involved in the game of football today.
Right.
Is there a favorite current pass rusher that you kind of you enjoy watching, or you kind of see some resemblance of the Jim Randle mentality?
He just retired. And Donald he's one of the best. So for Aaron, and then you got Robert Mathis played here at Indy, and you got Dwight Freeney. We all had the same coach.
Oh yeah.
And we all were the same height. But when we get together, we're talking about John Turling, who was the guru of pass rushing. But we talk about how we were the guys that nobody wanted. No one thought because we weren't the right height that we couldn't play the game. But watching those guys play, it's just great to see them, but it's also just great to see that the dream of being the 6 footer for life is still alive and it's still going on. And I know when I see a guy at 6'1" playing in the National Football League, that comes back from me being one of the first guys to play defensive line at only 6'1" tall.
You set the standard.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll jump back to North Central here for another question, then we'll be in to wrap up here. But right there.
So you see people in the league like Sam Darnold, who people kind of like gave up on, but then all of a sudden they go to like a new situation and they have like a resurgence, or like you,
who
was undrafted but ended up in the Hall of Fame. So what would you say is like the most important like factor to have that resurgence, to sort of like come out of nowhere and like prove people wrong?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Well, I got to tell you, because last year I talked to Sam at the Super Bowl, and first thing I told him, I said, man, don't listen to him. I said, you go where you feel as if you're happy. And that's the attitude you got to have, because to me, it's like there may be one door locked, but the next door may be unlocked. And that's where you have to consider the National Football League, because with all the different teams, there's different GMs, there are different head coaches who may not like you. But if you keep looking, you're going to find someone that's going to give you a chance, who's going to appreciate you for you. Because when Sam went to Seattle, John Snyder, the GM, he's from Minnesota. And I know John Snyder, and he's always looking at giving somebody another chance. So in life, you look for someone to give you another chance. Some people out there are not going to like, that's what I say with Kool-Aid, they're not going to like the flavor. Well, you got to keep going till you find someone who likes your flavor. That's been my life the whole time. Some people don't like me. Hey, fine, I'll move on. But don't let them bring you down. Because in this world, each and one of you, there is greatness. And there are people out there waiting to meet you. May not be the first person, may not be the second one, but continue to go down that road and you will find that person. It took me going from Texas to Minnesota to find my best friend. Not in Texas. And that's where you gotta look at life. Not everybody's gonna like you. Not everyone's gonna appreciate you, but there's somebody out there that will though.
I love that. I got to use that more, the Kool-Aid flavor. That was a good one.
Thank you.
Kind of, I want to say, the big thing is you get that opportunity, right?
Yeah.
And you can't, I like how you said somebody's out there for you.
Yes.
You get that opportunity, and you can't just, take it for granted, right?
Yeah,
you
you
have to
can't.
continue to work.
You have to continue working. You can't rush it.
Yeah.
It's like cooking dinner, man. It takes a little time. Not 5 minutes, not 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes. But it takes time.
Okay, John, we talked a lot about great stuff today, about commitment, about what we can take away from athletics. But the way we love to end this program is with one final question. We talked for about coming up on 40 minutes now.
Mhm.
If we only talking for 1 minute and you had to leave these students with one message in this 1 minute time frame, what would you like to tell them? It could be something we already talked about.
Yeah.
Leave these students with one final message today that, hopefully they'll take to heart and, apply to their life.
Well, I would tell you, first thing in the morning, when you get up, look in that mirror and look at yourself. Be happy with yourself. Because you're young and you're like a plant. You're just growing. You may have a little crooked branch here and there, but you're growing and you're going to get better. And let no one tell you that you can't get better. And if you take that to heart, every morning you look in that mirror, say, I will get better. I will. And let no one tell you that you can't. Because there's people out there who's supposed to be your friends and they're going to try to keep you right there grounded because they don't want to see you achieve. And you need to grow. Sprout, grow flowers, you need to grow. And that's what you must do because as I sit here, look at me, man, they try to prevent me from growing. They said I wasn't going to have flowers. I wasn't meant to go see the world. And I've seen it. So I'm here to tell you, you can see it too. But just take it one step at a time.
Thank you, John. What a great message to end the program. With that, we're going to wrap this installment of a Heart of a Hall of Famer series connected by Extreme Networks. Let's give Mr. Randle one big round of applause.